Welcome to ModiMakes.
What's good, everybody? My name is Modi, this is ModiMakes, and today we're gonna go through a short video of the entire process of a painting commission I recently received. Don't worry, it's not going to be a 10-hour long video, which you already know because you clicked on it, and I'm going to show you how I create realism in a digital painting in Procreate. So let's get into it, shall we? So I haven't worked in realism in a really long time. It's not really something that I enjoy viewing very much when I'm looking at art, and it's not really something that I enjoy a ton making in the process and everything. I believe the last time I worked in realism was my old video where I did ballpoint pen realism and I drew a xenomorph from Alien, which you can check out on the channel, but be warned, it's a very old video on the channel, so don't expect the quality to be as good as the videos that I make these days. And I believe the last time I did realism in digital painting was almost 2 years ago to the day with my Mac Miller portrait that I posted on February 11th, 2021 on my Instagram. If you want to check it out, go ahead. My Instagram is linked in the description and you can see it all there. Anyways, so I was contacted by someone who's a big fan of my work and has been for a long time and has seen what I can do when it comes to photorealism stuff. And they commissioned me to make a painting of this lovely couple standing in a lavender field just being cute as hell. And obviously, since I'm a YouTuber who doesn't even have enough subs to be monetized yet, which if you want to help me with that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make my day, year, life, all of the above. I said yes. So I pulled out my iPad, opened up Procreate, and got down to it. The first thing that I did was to open up the photo as reference and then start roughing out the proportions and the poses really loosely in blue here. Then I went back over that blue in a red color with a more accurate but still loose sketch, and it still doesn't have to be perfect because there will be no line work in this piece at the end and it will be entirely painted. Next, I pulled out the acrylic brush, which is a default brush in Procreate listed in painting, and roughed in a darker neutral tone for the background so I could see the colors I put on top of it, especially since they're both wearing basically all white in this photo, and there would be no discernible information on top of a blank white background. And then I went in and put the neutral midtone for all of the clothes in under the line work. Here you'll see I'm starting to paint the skin, but a very important part of painting skin that doesn't look super flat and dead is the underpainting. So you'll see that I'm going into the areas where there's reds and pinks showing through the skin and putting blocks of paint in those areas so it'll slightly show through in the final product and look like there's actually blood flowing underneath it. So again, not dead. Now here's where it can start to look really creepy and bad, but it's okay, you just have to keep pushing forward. Every painting has a stage where it's going to look terrible no matter how good you are, and that's okay, it's all part of the process. But for this painting, it's here, and that's putting the initial skin tones in and blocking in some of the shading as reference. And especially when I put the eyes in with no eyelids. Oh God, is that not the stuff of nightmares? It was so bad, in fact, that even though I don't normally start with refining the faces, I just had to do it here because I couldn't keep looking at them like that anymore. So just use your reference image and push and pull those skin tones until you unporcelain dollify them and you're relatively happy with the result. Because the great thing about painting, especially digitally, and why I think nobody should be too worried to try it out, is you can always go back and fix your mistakes later on in the process. Since I was already on a roll with the exposed skin parts of the image, I went ahead and refined a few more spots of that and then worked on what is easily some of my favorite things to paint, and what I think turned out best in this painting: the clothes. Cloth in general is fun because it's a lot of working with light and shadow to define abstract shapes, which I love because I have always been obsessed with shading, which is ironic since I don't usually use much in the work that I make now. After finishing up her honestly incredible and super fun to paint pants, I went back and did some more of the skin tone work in this extra tricky area where they're holding hands, which I was avoiding a little bit because it's just a jumbled mess of fingers that are pretty tricky to wrap your gourd around, but I think it ended up coming out quite well in the end. Next, I went on to some of the trickier cloth stuff because, guys, the thing about painting white cloth in ambient light is it's not going to have a ton of value changes. So make sure you start off subtly and pay attention to the reflected colors shown in the image. The yellow is reflecting off the skin, the blues reflecting from the sky, and anything else that might create bounce light, because that will bring a lot of depth to the image. Then, once you think you've got it pretty accurate to the image itself, take it a little further with the contrast. Darken the shadows a bit and push those bounce colors a little further to really give it depth. I'm not saying to go to black with your shadows or anything, just make them a little darker. And then roughen any patterning that might be on the clothing just to give it that little extra sense of texture to really sell it. Once your main subjects are looking nice and crispy like well-cooked bacon, it's time to contend with the background. For this piece, I thought it would be apt to make it very loose and impressionistic because the photo has a lot of depth of field that helps the figures pop. So I wanted to push that even further by having all the background be rough and out of focus so that only the figures have this high level of detail, making them the first place your eye is drawn when you look at the photo. Just match those colors in the rough area they should be in with some broad paint strokes and capture a bit of the lighting, and you're all aces. Well, there you have it, my peoples. My realism digital painting commission is complete. And you know, I'm really happy with how this turned out based on how infrequently I practice this skill. And with that being said, if I can pull it off with a little bit of underlying knowledge in the process and some practice, you can too. But let me know what you guys thought of the piece down in the comments below. And let me know if you guys have any questions about this video or any other videos I've ever made. I will be going through each and every one of them and responding to them personally, as I always do. And you know, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. I know it's a little bit of a different style, but that'll help me to know if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. And if you like me, you like the channel, and you want to help support me, the #1 thing that you can do is to subscribe. I really couldn't thank you enough if you did. It means the world to me. And with all that out of the way, and without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching.